get frustrated when you're in a Claude chat and you're creating and things are going well, and then Claude starts to get really slow and it starts compacting your conversation? In this video, I want to show you 3 simple things that you can do for non-technical people so you will never have this problem again. And by the end, you will always have the solution so you never lose your work. And I'm going to share my screen real quick here. So you're creating in Claude, and typically you're going, let's call it 20 or 25 chats in, and you notice, wow, this is getting super robust. So number 1, what I want you to do is to create a checkpoint and a handoff, right? So when you realize, hey, it's compacting the conversation, that should be a trigger for you. I need to open up a new conversation, because here's how I want you to think about context windows. And this is coming from a non-technical perspective. Think of every chat as a whiteboard. And when you start a new chat, it's a completely blank whiteboard. But then as you create more on it, it starts to fill the whiteboard up until it gets to 80 or 90%. And then Claude goes, hey, I'm going to compact this conversation because we got no more room on the whiteboard. So one of the things that I want you to do is use that as a trigger and literally just put in there, hey, let's create a checkpoint and a handoff. Because what you're going to do is this checkpoint will take all of the good information of everything that you've just done, put it into something that you can copy and paste, and then you can put into a new chat. And since this is something that is going to happen over and over again for you, what I ended up doing was creating a new checkpoint skill, right? So in your arsenal or toolbox of the way that you're creating with AI, you go in here and you say, listen, when I'm cooking with Claude, I'm going to get to a point where I know, wow, we've been doing this stuff for a while. Let me create a checkpoint and a handoff. Let me just create a skill right here. If you just drop a comment below, I'll send you over this skill. And it's just a very simple way of doing something repeatedly so we don't have to keep doing it again. So the number 2 thing here that makes this simple and easy for you becomes both a mental framework as well as a simple naming convention. So when you are creating something inside Claude or ChatGPT, I want you to have this little metronome in your head. Once you get to about 20 back and forth conversations, that's when you should be aware that your context window is going to be filled up. And I want you to say, all right, well, I'm going to create the version 2 of this. And oftentimes what triggers for me, because I'm not sitting there just thinking about, oh, I've done 20 conversations, is, am I about to build or do something new within this long thread? So for example, you start a conversation, you're creating, wow, this is good right here. And then you're like, whoa, there's a new phase of this. Use the new phase as an opportunity to create a new whiteboard, AKA a second chat there. So one of the things that I do, and you can see this from my naming convention, is I will name things in Claude V1, V2, V3. And this is a simple way of seeing like a phased approach of like, all right, with V1, I did this specific thing. And then I took the checkpoint handoff, created a new one for V2. It picked up all that context, and then I created there. And then you get to another point where you're like, wow, I built everything here. I'm about to do something new. Then you created V3. It's just a very simple way of keeping things clean and organized. And then the third thing, and this is a non-negotiable, and this will set you up for the next decade of your business growth, is using a second brain with the way that you interact with AI. So I'll show you how this works right here. So the beauty of a second brain is it holds all of your context, all of your data, all of your information. If everything that you do lives inside of AI, that is not scalable, because if Claude goes down or ChatGPT goes down, guess what? So does everything that you've done in there. So I'm going to show you what I've built over here, and I use Notion as my second brain. So here's how the workflow typically works for me. I start a brand new chat inside of Claude, and I'm creating, and I go, whoa, I'm past the idea stage. I'm now building. So let's send this to my build tracker in Notion. So inside this build tracker with Notion, I can just open this thing up and it'll have all of the information on what's the format, what were we building, right? Essentially, just like a checkpoint, but you're capturing it as a build. Because with this, you never have to worry about something being lost in your work, because by design, you've created a workflow where everything lives. So you'll see with the way that I do this, probably 3 to 4 to 5 times a day, I use my second brain for my build tracker to put in, hey, here's what I'm building right now, and write this so agentic AI can work on this. So I've done that from my build tracker to my signal bank, which is all my ideas. I do this with my playbook library. So inside of your chat, when you're creating right there, and you're like, wow, this is like a standard operating procedure or something that I could use for my team or my clients. Cool. Let's send that to Notion, aka my single source of truth. And now that is logged and captured, so you never have to lose it. So now going back to our conversation over here, you can see this simple. Send this to the content library in Notion. So I call this a workflow. So the way that you avoid losing work when Claude is compacting your conversation is simply by logging it somewhere else. So you have to ask yourself right now, do I have somewhere to log it? Some people use Obsidian, some people use Notion, some people use ClickUp. There's a million different things you can use. Choose one of them, and if you don't have this, shoot me a comment or a DM at Rob Cressy on Instagram or LinkedIn. I have this built already. It's called the Gold Vault. It's exactly what I've been doing for myself and my clients. And this infrastructure will make you millions of dollars, because now when you do something, you send it so it lives somewhere else. You create your checkpoint and handoff here. Boom. So now you have a simple system and process for what to do every single time you're creating inside of Claude. So to recap this, here's how I want you to think about this. Number one, every single chat that you have is just like a whiteboard. The longer you use it, the more that whiteboard fills up. Call it 20 to 25 times, then you should start to be aware, wow, I'm filling up my context window. Number two, when you notice things getting slower, it even starts compacting that conversation, create a checkpoint and handoff that you will copy and paste into a new chat, and create a Claude skill so you don't have to keep doing that over and over again. Name it version 1, version 2, version 3. Put your builds in separate chats. And then lastly, make sure that you've got a second brain so that all of your information is compounding there, right? And I get it. Very few people wake up in the morning being like, I can't wait to work on my structure and organization with Claude and ChatGPT. I get it. Except we know this to be true. In the world of AI, context matters the most. We do not want to be beholden to any one tool or platform. Therefore, your ability to have a second brain that captures all of your information from when you're building to what you're shipping, simple and easy. All you got to do is use the built-in MCP connections that live inside of Claude and Gemini and ChatGPT. It becomes set it and forget it. This is how it turns into a workflow. And I wanted to share this because this just came up in a conversation about 30 minutes ago. Someone asked me this exact question. I've been doing this for years, so I wanted to pay this forward for you. If you're someone who wants to become better than 99% of people in the world with AI, my recommendation for you, I've built out something called the unlimited method. Become better than 99% of the people in the world in one day. Go to robcressy.com/AI playbook. It'll completely change the way that you use AI forever, because you'll have that system and process and mindset for how you can do this. Sending tons of love and good vibes your way. Here's to having an amazing rest of the day.